You got to drop the mic?
I do. It has to deal with our guy in Washington. He just came after All-Star break. Jordan Poole has been coming off the bench. And I'm just kind of curious. This offseason, they're probably going to be obviously interested in trading him. Is there any team out there? Any team out there willing to buy Jordan Poole?
Are you paying him $33 million
next
year?
That's the thing.
He is a Washington Wizard for the foreseeable future.
Yeah.
No team is taking that. He's first of all, he said he was upset about being moved to the bench. He was upset about being a bench player for the Golden State Warriors. But there's nothing that he's done this season to warrant him to start anymore.
Yeah.
So, like, I understand not enjoying the process of coming off the bench, but, like, it's not like you were averaging 30 and coach is like, you know what, you sit your ass down. Mm-hmm. He hasn't been good. He's been one of the worst in the league.
This is just I really don't even talk about Jordan Poole no more because this shit is sad.
It's a lot of piling up on him on social media.
And that's why I say it's like, we've seen players come back, but it's like he's fallen into that hole, and that contract is not helping him.
I am hoping and praying that he does come back. The only reason I say it's sad is because I feel like, and I don't even want to do this, but I feel like he's in the position he's in because of the punch. Mm-hmm. When they won that championship, mm-hmm. that was supposed to be smooth sailing. He got his money. We go in. We finna work some shit out. That punch ruined the locker room, and obviously shit got awkward, and you felt like you had to break it up. They wasn't gonna give up on Draymond. You know what I'm saying? He means too much to the team, but it just made it feel like you had to trade Jordan Poole. And unfortunately, they traded him to like the worst place he could be in. Jordan Poole needs something where he has some structure. And I was a person that thought maybe he can go up, maybe he would show us some things. But he really needs that structure.
I think the clip that showed it all is when there was during that timeout late in game, and he's like, he's not paying attention at all, and he didn't know the play, and he's like, this is my team type stuff. That's just can't work for you no more. You obviously, it's like you're not at that type of level, and at this point, you're losing value. You know?
Yeah, he was so good and so fun to watch in Golden State because we can see the spurts. And the bad wasn't so much glorified because they wouldn't let it get that far because you had Steph, Clay, Dre, and everything around him. But in Washington, where there is nothing,
and he has to play 35 minutes.
You have to. We see it full boldness, and I'm just you kind of don't understand the value of the Warriors system and how they do things until you see something like this. But at the same time, this dude had a very bright future. And now the conversation around his name is this. Well, now we're in here talking about the bad, the turnovers. Every time I'm seeing them on my timeline, I'm seeing a highlight. It's negative.
It is. Yeah.
And
the field goal percentage is like disgusting. And I was thinking that too.
He don't even got no damn 2K card. Like he only got a moments card. What's his moment this year? His biggest moment was giving it to my Knicks in the preseason.
I think Wizards fans is happy when he has a game over 20
He
20
had,
points.
what, 2 30-point games this year?
He's got 3 30-point games this year.
He probably had that with the Warriors.
And I was thinking, when I first started watching Jordan Poole when he was the Warriors, it wasn't even like the shot that really got me down. You could talk about the bag, but it was like his handles got him.
What?
He had 13 30-point games
With
last
the
year.
Warriors,
With
right?
the Warriors.
Yeah.
He had
Wow.
2 40-point games.
Wow, it wasn't even the shooting that really got me in with Jordan Poole. It was just like the hand. I really liked his handles. I thought he had underrated handles for the league because like with those, you can get to a place where you want to do. You could break down the defense. You could do more than just score the ball. You could set up teammates, and that's going to add to your value. And still, it's like he needs to have a crazy scoring night for us to be like, man, Jordan Poole had a pretty good game tonight.
And also when you look at him playing with the Warriors, Steph always demands the best defender nightly. Klay Thompson demands a lot of respect. It's so much easier to get your shit off when you're playing next to Steph, Klay, Draymond.
Kuzma is the best player.
Like, yes, it's harder when the defense is like you're like number 1 or number 2 on the scouting report now.
That is a fact. But what I will say is even when he stepped in for Steph Curry, he was doing his shit, bro.
Yeah, he was.
Jordan Poole, I just
22% of Jordan Poole's shot attempts this season are considered open, and he's shooting 29% on them. So I want to compare that to him last year. Remember that number, 29% of his shot, 22% of his shots.
But he's shooting 29% on them.
Yeah, I'm going to go to his last year stats. So again, playing with the Golden State Warriors, of course, things are dramatically different as far as how you're being guarded. I'm going to see where he was, 22%. Somebody feel this. Oh, okay. Yeah. Last year, 28%.
We're open.
Yeah, and that's a pretty significant
pretty
drop
good.
off as far as how open you are on a night in, night out basis. So I'd still believe in Jordan Poole's ability to become a solid NBA player. He has not been that this season. But to get back to your original question about is a team going to take a chance, I'm just going to say a hard no. It's 29 next season, then $31 million, then $34 million. So he's under contract for 3 more seasons. When you talk about $30 million, that's usually allocated to your second to third best player. He's
Right.
just not going to do that for most teams. So
My answer to that would be, if I was a betting or guessing man, I would agree with KB. But my heart will hope so.
Yeah.
You tell me that Jordan Poole could go, and they wouldn't do this because they got all of the young talent. But if he was in a different situation and it wasn't necessarily Washington, but it was Utah, I think we see a different player. Would it be great? Would it be the All-Star? I think we see a different player. I just
Y'all
think that's
Orlando could also be a team.
Nope.
no.
they have to pay Paolo and Franz in the
Yeah,
next
they
couple
do.
seasons. If
And-
they're going to use that, they're going to use it for a star.
Yeah.
All-star caliber player. $30 million is just a lot of money
F
for
it.
some
And
guy you're
also
taking a
Chicago,
chance
F
on.
it.
With Utah,
Lonzo
though,
Ball contract.
Hey, stop.
Utah's
Utah.
not happening.
Yeah,
Utah's
no.
not happening.
They got Colin Sexton.
Yeah,
and
Utah,
Keontae
Keontae George.
yes.
Yeah, it's not happening. I'm just saying
Yeah, it's
the
gonna be hard to-
environment.
It's gonna be hard to find a market for Jordan Poole. at this
Will
point.
Hardy is really coaching his ass off. It's a free-flowing offense. You got a lot of movement. You got guys who can pick and pop, pick and roll. You got floor spacers. There's some structure. Washington, they roll that ball out and they just go get it. ain't nothing thriving over there except like Kyle Kuzma, and he wanted to stay.
And Denny.
Then he's doing.
Denny.
Yeah.
But it's just like other than that,
I saw Johnny Davis playing yesterday.
come on, man.
He's on the court. That's all I can really ask for at this point.
Like I told you, the Hawk series, Johnny Davis is sitting in free agency. I mean, year 2. We went through the whole offseason. Nobody wanted him.
It's tough. That's tough.
Just sitting out there.
He had potential, but it was.
He still does.
He had a season high in minutes played last night at 21 minutes per game. Final stat line was 2 points, a turnover, 7 rebounds, 1 for 8 from the field. And I saw one of his 3-point attempts. I don't know what happened, bro. Again, I'm not a guy that watches college basketball, but that jump shot from his year at Wisconsin to now is.
How old is Johnny Davis? 22.
Let me double check that, but that sounds about right.
When you're 22, you still have some type of potential. But
He's 21. He'll be 22 in a couple days.
I'm off of it completely once I seen his shot too. I don't know what happened. His shot was very Devin Booker-esque at Wisconsin. His play style was hard-nosed, Jimmy Butler, Devin Booker body type shit. But I'm off of it. But he's still young. Yeah, that's the hope, is that you're still young. I was concerned when he go down to the G League and
his stats still weren't looking too great either.
That's all I kind of need to see.
yeah.
Because usually guys go to the G League and they just start dogging.
But yeah, man, that Jordan Poole situation is just sad. But just only because sometimes players, they start to do their thing, they start to feel themselves, and they going to get that bag, and they want their own team, and they leave. That wasn't necessarily the situation. He got into a situation with a teammate. It went too far, and then the team struggled because of it, because they couldn't get the chemistry back on point, which that team was built on chemistry, and they were forced to really trade him, and they traded him for pennies on the dollar, really, and they sent him to a
That trade
hellhole.
looks amazing right now.
Yeah, it does.
Now, granted, Chris Paul hasn't played in 3 months at this point.
But his
it's just
contract
to-
is
just to
yeah,
get
it's a
off
little
the
bit more
money.
flexible with the
Get the
contract.
money off.
But yeah, man, they sent him. Even if that didn't happen, and they still eventually trade him, they probably don't trade him for just that low. He probably goes somewhere a little better than Washington.
Yeah.
Well, I think he just needed something a little bit better than Washington, man. A little bit better than Washington.